Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Alright, in this video, this was actually kind of a request this week by actually a customer of ours. And he was asking, how about, do you have any experience with sheet metal? Yeah, sure do. Placement of quarter panels, floor pans, whatever. He's like, well, how do you, I've never bought, I haven't bought a spot weld cutter yet. Or he has, and he just hasn't used it yet, and he didn't have that much experience with it. Well, told him, I'll make a video on it, make sure you watch it, and that way it'll help you out when you go and try and drill your spot welds. Because let me tell you something, this is a spot weld cutter bit that I use, okay, and I've used this one for probably about 6 or 7 years. Is this type? They won't last that long, but this is the type of one that I use. They have many others out there, and I've tried them, and this is by far the best one that I have come by that actually works. All right, now, you ever tried to drill a spot weld and you're like, oh, okay, spot weld drill bit cutter, all right, we'll stick it in the drill and go right at it and see if you can cut the spot weld out. Nope, it's not how you do it. What you want first is take you a smaller, like a metal drill bit like that, okay, and just take it and just put it in the center of the spot weld. All right, just drill it just a little bit, just enough to where this point will stay center, where it won't walk. All right, you don't want to drill all the way through the metal. That's not what we're doing. You want to just take care of the spot weld out, or just take care of the spot weld just to remove that piece. All right, now you want to make sure that you don't go all the way through both panels wherever it's spot welded. All right, you don't want to do that. You don't want to go all the way through. You just want to remove the panel that you want to remove and not go all the way through. That's what that's used for. All right, I see a lot of guys and they go all the way through, and that's okay if you accidentally do it, but don't do it. But if you accidentally do it, then you need to go back and with your welder and you just need to fill up your holes, or you need to just cut out a piece or whatever you need to do to fix it. All right. Now, the drill bits that I use, and I've bought Snap-on, and I've bought the $200 drill bits at the car shows. Guess what? They ain't worth a flip. All right. You might as well throw those things in the trash. Snap-on, they're okay, but not as good as these. These are the ones that I use. They're the Milwaukees. All right, and I paid $200 for those Snap-on bits. Let me tell you something. These are actually better. These are, now they have a couple of different ones from Milwaukee, all right, that are just for steel, all right. But the ones that I use are the 15 times red Helix, all right. And let me pull one out here and let me show you what I've got. Okay. This is the red Helix. There's a little tip where my fingernail is catching. That's the red Helix bit from Milwaukee, all right? You'll see a lot of drill bits that will have these, all right? But these are actually cobalt bits, all right? If you break off a tap, this is your best chance of getting that tap out, is the cobalt steel. Cobalt steel will get it out, but you need to go slow with it, all right? Those are the bits that I use to take care of that. Now, in order to find spot welds, and I know it's probably covered up with rust or it's hard to find them or whatever, what you want to do is take like a die grinder wheel with either the 80 or 60 grit wheels or even the 40 grit wheels, and you want to go through and you want to try and find the spot welds, and you'll see them, they're indentured, all right? And you'll see like little round bubbles, they look like that, and they're just kind of indentured. That's when you found the spot weld. And that's exactly how you drill them. Take your small drill bit, drill in the center of it, then come back and use that to cut it out with, all right? And that's how you do your spot welds. Now, when you go to fit up panels, like I got to do the 69 Camaro, and I've watched a few videos on how to do it and make sure I don't want to screw it up either, because I've never done a 69 Camaro. I've only done a Chevelle. Well, apparently, on the quarter panels, you actually have to take your flat hammer, your flat dolly hammer, and you want to just kind of peck along right where that quarter glass is, right where it goes up against that piece on that rail, all right, on that weather strip rail, and you want to kind of tap that down. And then at the back, you'll have the light in the back, and you want to actually put a jack or a like those old farm jacks, all right, into that hole, and you kind of want to move it up to where the quarter panel is doing this motion, all right, to get it fit correctly, all right. That's what you want to do on those. And apparently Chevelle is the same way, and I've never had to do quarter panels on a Chevelle. Just, I guess, my luck. But I've had to do patch panels, and I'm gonna make a video on some patch panel repair and go through what you need to do it. And I will have, like, today I'm just not in the shop. It's cold out. Garage is cold. I wasn't gonna put on the heater, and this is more of what you need to do versus how to do on the videos at the shop. So when it's warmer out or whatever, or I got the heater on, then I'll show you how to do some stuff. But this right here is just to get you geared up what you need to replace your panels. The other one is Clecos. You should buy Clecos if you are doing major panel repair, all right? And some sheet metal screws. You want to use both. Sheet metal screws, I'm okay with to a certain extent. If you have like a large gap, you probably don't want to use the sheet metal screws. You want to try and figure out why it's not fitting correctly, or you might want to use a hammer and dolly and kind of knock the panel back, or however you want, or however it needs to be, depending on situation. Where if you take that sheet metal screw and you go to screw it in, it's not going to bend your panel along with it, all right? That's not what you want. You want a nice flush fitment, as less as a gap as you need. Next thing, before you remove your quarter panels, make sure you take measurements of right where your quarter glass is. All right, your quarter glass, like on the '69 Camaro, it looks something like this. All right, and it looks something like that. All right, this is your quarter glass, is in this area. You need to take a measure from the quarter panel into the inner panel, right where your right where you put your door panel. All right, you want to measure between steel to steel of that gap, and you want to take 3 measurements: here, here, and back here. 3 of them. You need to write them down, whatever they are, and take a piece of tape on the back side. Leave that tape with the measurements on it, so that when you go to fit your panel on, it'll go back right where it's supposed to be with those measurements, as close as possible. All right, because you don't want a gap here where it rains or water gets in. It's going to go down into that quarter panel. It's going to sit down there at the very bottom. That's why that's important. All right, you want to make sure that that window is going to seal. All right. Next thing, after you take out your quarter panel, there's some stuff that I use from Eastwood, and I'll have the part numbers up too. And I'll go over the video with those individually of what they're used for. I use a cavity wax, or it's like a internal frame coating from Eastwood that has like a long straw, and that's good to coat the inside of this if you don't have to replace your quarter panels. All right, it's good for frames. It's good for a lot of things where you can't get in and do like an undercoat or something like that in. That internal frame coat with that spray nozzle is really nice and handy for that kind of stuff. Next thing, up here, right where the seam is, when you're replacing that quarter panel, they used to use lead back in the day, and I use a face mask when I remove the lead that is not a paint mask, all right? It has to be a vapor, like a vapor type mask, and I'll tell you why. Because how I remove my lead is I use a torch, and I make sure the vehicle's outside, well ventilated. You don't want this stuff inside. You need to be covered up in like a paint suit. Make sure you put bags over your feet and tape them up, all right? You want to be really covered up when you do this lead, all right? I've had to remove lead before, and I had to go back and refill it with a filler that is, it's called USA All Metal Fill, All right. This is the new way to replace that lead. All right. And this is a lot less harmful than the lead is, and you just spread it like it was Mondo. Now, why you want to use an all metal is because it remains flexible. Not that you use it fiberglass or Bondo. You go down the road and, you know, your vehicle, believe it or not, it flexes as it's moving. In any car, I don't care what it is, it's going to flex. If you use a filler that is not flexible, guess what? You're going to have cracks come right where you filled it. All right. That's why you want to use something that has a flex to it, like a flexing agent. Well, wouldn't that make the paint light crack or something like that? No, not really. You just put a flexing agent in your paint. Guess what? You're fixed. All right. If you really wanted to, but I've never seen even paint with a non-flexing agent actually crack. All right. If you want to use a flexing agent in your paint for this reason, I mean, you can. It won't hurt anything if you did use it on that body. It doesn't even change the color. All right. You just, if you just feel that way, you can do it that way if you want to. All right. I'll go over a video on some paint guns and some other materials that I use for my panel replacement and other things. All right. But I did want to cover the drill bits and the spot weld cutter in this video. And hopefully that, guys, will help you out of what you need to do on your panel replacement. Your panels, forgot to mention in the video, so I'm going to fill this in. They do make a right angle seam buster, and you do need to purchase these along with your spot weld cutter bit as well. All right. What you want to do when you drill out your spot weld after you get the panel, you know, most of all the spot welds done and removed, and you want to go, and I got mine right there. They are. They look like that, called the seam busters. And O'Reilly's has got them. They got the one that goes on the air hammer. They have the one that's a 90-degree angle, and they have a straight. I use the straight one the most. Your 90-degree angles are for more like a tight space. All right, and guys, O'Reilly's carries a lot more stuff than I've seen in a lot of other automotive parts places. Now, I don't really like automotive parts places anymore. O'Reilly's is probably the #1 choice if I had to go and get some stuff. All right. I deal with some guys here in Carnes and Knoxville that they pretty much know what they're doing when you need something. There's about 3 or 4 of them that are in there. They know what you need. All right. When you call in and you ask them for a finisher's book or whatever, right there it is. They carry everything automotive, finishes, paints, primers, guns, battery powered sanders, orbital sander. They carry everything. They carry a lot more than what you think that they can get. All right. Napa's the same way. The problem is what I have with Napa is that when I call and try and order something, it usually takes a lot longer than what these guys can take. 2 days max, 1 day max. Napa probably about a week. All right. Or special order. Either way. Advanced and AutoZone, forget it. Not happening. I don't even call them anymore. They're just not me. They never can get what I need, especially with old vehicles. Old vehicles, Napa and O'Reilly's is the place to go. And I'm not sponsored with them, and I'll even talk crap about both of them. It's just the way it is. All right. When I need a part, guess what? I know you guys have a lot of issues when you go and call into the auto parts store and you ask for a part and they're like, we don't carry it. Happens to me every day at Performance. Hey, you guys carry this? No, I don't carry that. O'Reilly should carry it because I used to sell them when I used to work there. I call them, they don't have it. Yeah, they do. It's just that they don't train their guys like they used to when they're looking up parts. They really don't. This comes with experience. And all they care about is selling wiper blades, throwing them out there on the counter, and helping them with their everyday stuff like their wiper blade replacement, brake pad replacement, rotors, and all they pay attention to is add-on stuff. When I worked for O'Reilly's, I'm going to tell you right now, Riley, if you're watching this video, I could care less about the add-ons. I care about taking care of the customer when I was working for you guys. So, those little packets of grease that you added on with the brake pads, bulbs, your little packets of grease that you put on the bulbs, guess what? When you work for the dealership, they didn't put that grease on the bulbs. They didn't come factory like that. I replaced the bulbs and that was it. Brakes, they were a little bit different. Yeah, I sold them some grease. I'm like, you need to grease your sliders. But I'm not going to sit there and add everything to the ticket just because you want me to for your sales goal. Your sales goal comes from experience about helping out the customer with what they need. For example, customer called into Performance Products and asked for some piston ring pliers. I don't carry them. I finally told boss, owner, we need to start carrying piston ring pliers because I guess they don't know what they're looking for at their regular parts places anymore. We didn't have a set, and I said, well, I'll find you the part number. There you go. Found the part number, called them up. Had the part number sitting on the shelf. And I did 2 phone calls. I called the store while the customer was on hold, found the part, and it was done. This is why I have a problem with auto parts places sometimes. Some of them, you'll get them and they just don't know. And it's just a pain. But anyway, a little bit off topic, but I'm going to make another video on the best auto parts places. And I'll tell you some stories and how to go find some parts that you can actually interchange with your regular parts stores. One of them happened to be Rock Auto. Believe it or not, Rock Auto's parts, all their lists and all their parts, they interchange. If they tell me I can't find it or they don't have it, I'll look it up on Rock Auto, get the part number, call them back, and I'll give them the part number. And guess what? Most of the time, it's either in stock or a day out. Alright? So it's just one of those things that you just kind of have to do your own search and then just call them anymore because they just don't train them as well as they used to. Anyway, I wanted to add that into that video with the spot weld cutter because those tools you do need. And I'll put the links in the description and below along with the spot weld cutter and the bits where you can find them. Amazon and O'Reilly's do have the spot weld cutters. Milwaukee, Amazon, and a Home Depot. If you're like me, you don't like shopping, going to the store dealing with people, especially with COVID or whatever. A lot of people are doing their shopping online. This video is going to help you find, or all these videos are going to help you find parts and tools that you need to work on your vehicles at the house. Alright? So I just wanted to add that in there. Like, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you on the next one.